Just my keyboard and I can't move anything.
Oh dear. Okay, I think it's 7 o'clock. We can now begin. Is everybody here? Let me open my view, then I can see everybody, I hope. Yeah.
Can't see Paddy.
He's downstairs on the iPad, so I don't know why we can't see him.
Yes.
No football on, is there?
No, he's on the iPad. He was playing chess earlier. I don't know why we can't. He probably hasn't switched the video on, has he? Anyway, shall we start, everybody?
Yeah.
Yep.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you. Okay. So, have we anybody in the public session, Paul, that wanted to speak?
Nobody who's told me they wanted to speak, unless any of the members of public present wish to do so.
Why don't you
I'm
want
not
video?
being let in.
He's not being let in, Paul, he says.
I'm not seeing you come up at the moment, Paddy.
He's gone back down to do the iPad again. He says, I haven't been let in.
So I'm taking that as no members of the public wish to speak.
Okay, that's fine. So we shall carry on to item 1 on the agenda. Any apologies for absence?
We've received apologies from Buckinghamshire councillors Charlie White and Warren White and Charlie Clare.
Okay.
And also Rabina Ahmed said she may be running late due to an appointment.
Okay. I think somebody's coming upstairs again. Are you still not in?
No. Doesn't matter. It's not important.
You are.
Up here. I won't say anything.
You can stay, put your chair beside me. He can't get in on the iPad at the moment, so.
Is he feeling unwanted?
Yeah. Okay, we shall move on to item 2. Any declarations of interest? No. Okay. So item 3 was my motion to the Health Secretary, Matt Hancock, which we were going to change the wording on that. So I haven't got the Mark suggested some different wording. He's muted at the moment.
Yeah, would you like me to read out the
Yes,
wording
please.
we agreed on?
Yes,
Thank you.
please, Mark.
Health Secretary Matt Hancock has said that an extra £63 million is being made available to councils to provide meals to underprivileged children during school holidays. I propose that the Town Council asks Buckinghamshire Council what provision it is making for Buckingham children who might benefit from this. And if I could second your motion, Mayor.
Yes, certainly. So that was
Agreed.
the difference in wording that we wished to make, that we said we would do. Sorry,
Could I
Robin's
propose an
got his hand
amendment,
up.
Chairman?
Sorry?
Could I propose an
So
amendment?
Councillor O'Donoghue has a hand as well.
Okay, thank you. Carry on, Robin.
Can I add that we write to Buckinghamshire County Council also to ask them what percentage of the £63 million was available? Because the £63 million, Chairman, Mayor, was actually allocated for June. It wasn't allocated for the holidays. So I think we need to ask them what percentage of the £63 million was available, because it wasn't available. So what funds they allocated, which I believe was about 100,000 pounds, must have come from some other pot, because it couldn't come from that pot, as the advice to councils were to use it within the 12-week period. So we need to ascertain that.
Okay, thank you. And Lisa, where are you? There she is.
Yeah, I didn't know if Mark's amendment needed seconding, but I'm happy to go with your motion.
Thank
Mayor.
you. Okay, so is everybody happy with that?
Well,
Yeah.
the amendment hasn't been seconded.
Sorry, we need to.
Shall I give it you again?
Yeah, sorry,
It's to
Margaret.
ask Buckinghamshire Council what percentage of the £63 million alluded to by Matt Hancock was available for them to spend after June.
Okay, and I think Councillor Gately, you're muted at the moment.
Yeah, I'm happy to second that.
Yeah. Okay. Have we got all that information down? Everybody happy with that?
So,
Yeah.
so we're agreeing the amendment to the motion then? Is that-
Yeah.
Yeah.
So everybody in agreement with that amendment?
Yep.
Yeah, we'll take that as unanimous.
Okay. Thank you.
Could I just speak to that, Chairman? I'd just like to, on the record, thank yourself and Councillor Collins as Chairman of the Community Centre, making the Community Centre available for the scheme done by young boy Solomon. And I also would like to put on record my thanks to all those people who made that scheme absolutely possible, including Fran, who worked in the kitchen. I think we should record our thanks in a minute to them and yourselves, because you went beyond what was necessary, all of you, and without you we wouldn't have been able to achieve that, and I think it should be recorded in minutes.
Yeah, agree.
Okay, thank you for that. Well, it needs doing, didn't it? Okay, we shall move on to sorry.
So have we agreed the motion itself? So we agreed the
Yeah, we have to do the
Yes.
motion.
Agree the motion.
Yeah. So everybody was in agreement with the original motion.
As amended. The
As
motion-
amended.
As amended, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, so item 4 is the removal of this temporary crossing at Moreton Road. Councillor Mike Smith.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm opposed to its removal. It is a ramshackle mess which is badly maintained by the Buckinghamshire Authority. I've put signs up and straightened things 2 or 3 times since it's been there, but it is used. We are still in a COVID situation and still need to do social distancing, which is what the thing's there for. So I'm opposed to its removal until such time as they can put a permanent one in.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Mordew.
I'm also against removing it, because once it goes, you'll be very lucky to get a temporary one put back in. And it was some years ago when they tried to get a permanent one in, and it was opposed by highways because it's too close to the other junctions. And I think it has been useful, and we should maintain it where it is until such time as we know whether we can have a permanent one or not.
Absolutely. And Councillor Mahi.
I think Councillor Sashvi was before me.
Sorry. Where's he gone? I've lost him.
I'm here. Don't worry, I've not gone nowhere.
You moved.
I'm in the left. On the left. The matter of this crossing, we should retain it, because why it remains, it is a lot easier for people with disabilities to cross that road. It at least gives them opportunity to rest in the middle of the road if they can't make the whole way across. If you watch elderly people and people with wheelchairs and whatever cross the road. And the other matter is why it remains there. We can at least continue with the discussions about having something more permanent put in. When it goes, that conversation will have gone. And if they are going to remove it, they should do a complete risk assessment on what the effects would be on crossing the road with its removal, because they obviously did a assessment of putting it in, so they should do a full assessment of removing it.
Thank you, Robin. Absolutely. Andy?
I went through town this afternoon after a long queue through town, and there's some work going on there. Is that, are they putting a permanent one there, Howard, or any of the other councillors know?
That's Gasworks.
Oh, is it? Oh, no, I thought they were putting a permanent crossing. Oh.
No, it's the gasworks up the Moreton Road, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay.
Causing chaos.
Buckinghamshire,
Chaos.
Councillor Mari, not Narnia.
Well, I agree with everybody. We should retain that crossing. And if their argument is it's too near the junction, if you look at all the pedestrian crossings in Aylesbury, they are very much nearer all the junctions than ours is, and always have been. Anybody else wishing to speak? Lisa?
Thank you. Yeah, I was going to make that point actually, Chair, because when you drive into Aylesbury, you've got the two roundabouts quite close together, and there's a zebra crossing right next to it, and that's just one of them. But on our one, it does make such a difference, because if you're turning around the old jail, instead of half seeing somebody standing there, you've now got these bollards that are a lot brighter than somebody standing there in dark clothing or anybody lower down. So it definitely makes a difference, and it definitely makes people more seen. So definitely keep it.
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody else wishing to speak on that? Yeah, Lisa, I once said to somebody, I was nursing at Stoke Mandeville at the time, and somebody was complaining about the crossings near the roundabouts. And I said, well, I wonder who was responsible for that. And this voice in the bed said, me. That's okay, fine.
Heavy dose of something.
Right, we shall move on swiftly after that. So we
Councillor
really
Smith has a hand.
Sorry, yeah, we so we need to have a show of hands for everybody in support of voting against the removal of that temporary crossing, because we really do need to keep it and carry on ahead.
Could I make another comment?
Yes, certainly, Mike.
I think that perhaps when we respond, we should say not only do we want to see it retained until such time as more permanent arrangements are made, but that it be properly and regularly maintained.
Agreed.
Yeah,
There are too many occasions when there's signs fallen over, or the the bollard thingies are kicked out of line on, all the rest of it.
Yeah, absolutely. So all those in favour of that motion? Sorry,
Councillor Harvey wishes to say something, I think.
Councillor Harvey, where are you?
You there?
I'm here. I'm just wondering whether we could ask the council to replace the plastic bollards, as it were, with something a bit more strong, like some concrete.
Something more robust.
Tank barriers.
Yeah, so you can see these when there's roadworks on the motorways. They obviously do exist. Could they not put something in that was, you know, if a car hits it, the car's going to come off worst, and therefore will protect pedestrians more? Could we at least ask that question as well?
We could. If they say health and safety issues, we need to say, why can't we have something more robust, as you've suggested?
Could I just say to that, Chairman, that I think Councillor Smith was right. If they maintain it and fill them full of water so they don't actually drift around in the wind instead of empty, we'll get somewhere there. And the advantage is, if a car does actually hit those soft crossings, they won't damage the car. And if we ask for concrete ones, they're more likely to come with a view of removing them, because they won't want to move concrete ones in. They have to be fastened to the road. They can't be just sat there. They actually are part of the road structure, and they may get wet. I mean, I think it gets asked in the question, but let's not throw out the baby with the bathwater, because I think that getting this maintained permanently and maintained, as Councillor Smith suggests, would be a step forward. But let's not premise our response on those concrete ones, because if you walk into them in the dark, it hurts.
Okay, thank you. Is everybody happy with that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So everybody in favour of us?
Should we put it to a vote and try and make it
yeah,
unanimous?
Absolutely.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
If you can't see Paddy, he is
I'm
in
here.
favour of it.
Yeah, I can see Paddy's hand.
Oh, he's
that
on
is
there.
unanimous.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Now you see him, now you don't.
Thank you.
Tony Collins is there.
Okay, we shall move on to item 5, the chairman's announcements, which Paul has something to say on the update on the COVID restrictions.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. Following the announcement of additional national restrictions, firstly, to let you know, obviously, whilst the restrictions won't be agreed until Parliament votes on Wednesday, we're assuming they will be and planning to implement them. The impact on the town council services will be play areas will remain open. So the green spaces team will continue their normal work, maintaining parks and green spaces, but also the cemetery will remain open for burials. However, the Tourist Information Centre will close for the duration of the lockdown, as nobody's allowed to travel to Buckingham for reasons of leisure. Shopability will be closed again. Lace Hill, it's likely that all hirers won't be able to use it, with the exception of contact, but we'll work with hirer by hirer to see what is appropriate for each of them. So we're not just going to close it per se. We'll actually work with each hirer to check what their governing body or their arrangements have to be. We'll do a whole set of comms later in the week. So we'll refresh the posters in the play areas. A whole load of posters around town about council services. We'll do those, and we'll do them on a better poster. So we'll use the hard acrylic with vinyl stickers on them for the winter. And we'll do social media, and I'll work with the mayor to agree a press release to go out on Wednesday, Thursday. That's kind of where we are at the moment. Happy to take questions through the week if you come with any suggestions. Obviously, we can't debate under this agenda item, but happy to provide any more information that might be helpful.
Okay, thanks, Paul. I mean, the same with the community centre. We have to keep the blood donors going because they're classed as an essential service, but anything else we have to work with the hirers to see what can go ahead and what can't go ahead. With the remembrance at the cenotaph, which was the dwindled down one to just 20 people, we're thinking that can still go ahead at the moment, but obviously we will have to wait for further advice on that in case that changes after Wednesday. So I think that's all we can say on that at the moment. And Councillor Smith has his hand up.
Yes, he does. Paul, did I understand you to say that the playgrounds would be closed? Because
No, I said they remain open.
They remain. Oh, that's good. Okay. Good.
Yeah. Okay, and Councillor Stutchby. Sorry, Councillor Harvey's hand is up as well.
I'll go last.
I've lost Councillor Harvey. Oh, there he is.
I'm here. Just a question, really. If the playground's staying open, presumably the outdoor gym facilities are staying open as well.
Probably, although it's not quite as clear from the guidance that should be the case. So we'll wait and see what more detailed guidance comes out on that.
Okay, all right. Well, obviously we've got to follow the guidance. But from the research that I'm reading, it seems as if the transmission via contact with objects is not nearly as likely as airborne virus from either droplets or aerosol content.
Yeah. Okay. Did you still want to say anything, Councillor Stutchby?
Yeah. Councillors, Buckinghamshire councillors have been having confidential briefings on COVID for a very, very long time. Our next briefing's due on the 5th of November. It might be worth us writing to them, asking whether we could have a full breakdown of any briefings they've given to councillors, because I'm very uneasy, and I've followed the conversation on social media from people who would be experts in these areas, and the conversation has got no reality to what the information which is being given. And I think that we are going to convince people to have a step change in their behaviour and accept the science. They actually do need to be able to see the science and be able to trust it. It's difficult when you go to a briefing and you're not advised how much of it is public. But these matters have been discussed for a very long time, and it might be worth asking the council whether they can make those figures more public, because I think that might, the comments I've seen on the letter which was sent out prior to the government's announcement was criticising the council for that letter, but the council didn't know what the government had planned only a few days after the last briefing, the week before. So I think that was unfair, but I do think we should ask them to give us fuller information around the science and the breakdown over Buckinghamshire, because I think then people would start to understand a little bit more, because the science is there. It's just nobody's seen it, and they're all making their opinion by what they've seen on some other website, and it isn't true. It's not useful. Let's be sensible about this. At least ask them if they can share that. As far as I'm concerned, it isn't that confidential, but I'm at a confidential briefing, so I can't share it. I'd love to, but I'm not able to. So could I ask through the town clerk that we ask for the most up-to-date information given to the councillors after the 5th of November? Could it be shared more widely? That will allow people to make their own decisions on it without me trying to curry that in any way.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Mordew?
It was a briefing for members, and there's a whole set of slides showed, including the figures. Now, if it's shown to members, unless it's said to be confidential, it's in the public domain, as I understand it. So they could be circulated. I'm quite happy to send my set of copies on, but the actual summary is of far more interest than all the figures that go into it. Nobody told me it had to be confidential.
Well, with respect, Howard, I was in a confidential briefing. That's why I thought it was confidential. If you're telling me differently, you circulate it and I'll share in your pleasure of reading it.
Were you told it was confidential briefing? Because as far as I'm concerned, if they ask the members to be present and then they circulate the slides to all the members afterwards without saying it's confidential, then it can be circulated.
If you know
what's his...
I don't want to argue it.
I know you can't argue on behalf of the Buckinghamshire Council, Paul, but if you circulate a set of slides following a members' meeting, would you consider that as confidential?
Depends if it's a confidential meeting, doesn't it?
Yeah, personally,
it wasn't a confidential meeting.
I mean, I would say, and this would be my experience of the council size of Buckinghamshire, that if something was confidential, it would be marked confidential.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. That's absolutely right.
I mean, I'll take it under advisement, Howard, if you believe they're not confidential.
Well, I haven't seen a slide that's marked confidential.
If it's not marked confidential, then yeah, please do share them.
Well, I'll let you share them first, Howard, okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else got any questions on that? No. Okay, so the dates of our next meetings are the full council on the 23rd of November and the interim on the 21st of December.
We have mince pies at that meeting, virtual ones, of course.
Virtual ones, I should think. And let's hope we can just have some clarification on everything and people stay safe and stay well, because I do know it's rising in Buckinghamshire from my track and trace figures. So we can just hope for the best, really, and help help the community along as much as we can.
Was that confidential or not?
No.
Okay, I'm now going to, for those watching on YouTube, I'm now going to stop the YouTube stream and then I'll immediately start it again for the planning meeting.
Okay.
Howard had his hand up.
Sorry?
Can I just
Howard's
say
got his hand up.
Howard?
What came up of that briefing was that Aylesbury Vale area was reasonably low compared to the south of the county.
Yeah.
And the figures in for Buckinghamshire as a whole were tended to be below what the government was looking at as far as imposing any restrictions. However, within a week, the numbers in Aylesbury Vale shot up, And that's what gave concern that we would be going to tier 2. And the tier 2 decision is made between the leader and the CEO and the government. The government basically says what you got to do, but it has to be implemented by the CEO and the leader. And as things turned out, events overtook, and they brought forward the announcement about the lockdown to the Saturday instead of being Monday or Tuesday this week. Now, I better not go into what I think of the government, because that's a separate thing.
Go on.
No, I don't want to.
No.
No, it's they have a very difficult job to do, the government, and I wouldn't like to be in their position. I don't think they always make it easy for themselves. As far as Buckinghamshire Council goes, we are in a situation, we're on the verge of probably going into tier 2, except they announce a lockdown, and that supersedes the tier 2.
Yeah, it did say Buckingham. It did say our area was rising, didn't it, on Thursday and Friday? Yeah, absolutely.
At the end of the day, what they're concerned about is the number of hospital beds that are available.
Yeah.
And I think that Buckinghamshire Council has done what they can. Anyway, I won't prolong the meeting.
No, I was enjoying that bit, Howard. Now you're reading the slides.
Thank you, everybody, for being
Thank
here
you.
tonight.
Thank you.
And all stay
Thanks,
safe and stay well.